edition for the men out there, for the boy sharo, kijana and dume, and man and his money, of course. Also just talking about the whole conversation around positive male role models, and I want to to allow my brother here just to introduce himself and to get to know more about him. Bwana Amos, karibu sana hapa Hope FM.
Asante sana.
Yeah. Mimi naitwa Man Karis. Hapa ndo na kujanga soko. Hapa ndio najua wala nasemanga mahali pa kibarua. This is home, and thank you for coming through. I'm actually looking forward to hosting you more and more, manze. Yeah, not just because it's International Men's Day. We can have conversation around men anytime around here. So who is Amos Ngahu, for those who are tuning for the first time, or rather seeing your face for the first time, because you're also live on Facebook?
Okay. So thank you, first of all, for having me. You're doing a great job out here. And again, I first want also to start by wishing you happy International Men's Day.
Thank you, sir.
I know probably very few men have received that. So even those men who are listening to us, happy International Men's Day. You are appreciated. Yeah, so Amos Ngahu is a financial coach, founder of Money Gossip and Money Clinic. Moja inakaa hospitali, ingine inakaa Umbea.
Now I can put the face.
Yes.
I've seen the awesome work you're doing online.
Yeah, so when you see gossip is when we want to try to make money conversations easier. Money Clinic ni wakati sasa ni kubaya, you want to be admitted in a hospital. Lakini a financial hospital where tunakaa chini tunafanya kitu inaitwa financial therapy.
Yes. It is that serious?
It is that serious.
Like literally financial therapy?
Yes. And I must say this as men, because today's man and his money, you're doing badly. Because if, for instance, in a year you get 200 people, 98% are women who are being proactive. I have come, I don't feel like I'm doing well enough. I need to change a few things. But the 2% who are men will come there when everything has hit rock bottom. You get it? Yeah. And if you dig further, you realize even that rock bottom has a basement. So we want to be a little bit more intentional about men. Men, we are doing badly.
Why do you think men don't pursue this knowledge and these avenues of because I see prayer requests here. Wanaume.
Men, men, we are problem solvers. So we get into mistakes because we are trying to look for a solution. And sometimes it goes at the cost of our health, at the cost of our humility. And that's why if you've done premarital utapata, women want to be heard, just to be listened to. But men want to give solutions. Why don't you do this? Usually they just don't want a solution. So most of the times it could be an issue of that, whereby we feel like we have a solution. Everything will be fine. So even if you've been fired, it's hard for you to communicate at home. So you'll first of all say, I'll get another job. So another 3-4 months, you're not telling anybody you've lost your job. Or you took a debt. You took a debt to invest somewhere, ukaoshwa. And then now you're wondering, now what do I tell my wife? So you go, you're looking for solutions to recover the money. You dig yourself into further debt. So I believe it's an area whereby we are called, first of all, towards humility. That I can sit down with my relevant people, my family, my boss, and tell them this is what happened. I've made a mistake. I've owned up. I've lost this kind of money, and this is my plan. So that you prepare the other party. Yeah. So we have a couple of other reasons why men we are there. So may God help us.
May God help us. So the theme this year, International Men's Day 2024, positive male role models, and that's the importance of fostering open conversation about men's mental health and creating supportive environments where men can thrive. Let's talk about supportive environments, Bwana Amos.
Yes.
How does an environment that we can consider conducive for the health of a man? How does it look like?
Now I'll tell you what. And this is something I've seen with men. And let me just start with you why I'm so passionate about the men's thing. First of all, I'm a father. I have 2 sons, 12 and 10. And I have young men who work for me, or we work with. One of them is 24. I'm in my 40s. I'm 42.
Ah.
That's a whole almost 20 years. But my son is 12. He's only 12 years younger than this guy. Chances are, if he's looking around for someone to relate with him, he knows I'm his father. If I'm older, who would my son look up to? The 24-year-old.
Yeah.
So if I have to be very intentional about what I help, and you see, they normally say the best way to cheat on death is to invest in the immediate next generation. My immediate next generation is not my son. Is that young man who's working for me. So that's the only way I can cheat on death, by transferring my vision to him. So that my son is also seeing someone learning and growing, so that he can also follow.
Yes.
Okay? So the issue of mentorship for me is very, very important. And going back to even some of us, when we were brought up, our fathers were raised by people who are broken. Remember the pre-independent?
Yes.
So even them they were broken. So they didn't know how to mentor us. Just be tough. Yes. Yes. You tell me. I was telling someone early in a previous interview that I got my first hug from my father on my wedding day.
Wow. Well.
Now you think about it. And then we are wondering why men are so broken. They are following all the wrong examples. If a man goes says something controversial, and at that point you agree with him, he becomes your mentor. And that is why you'll find we are following all the wrong people. And not in a bad way. Is those who are speaking up is the only ones who are there available. So you and I have to be very intentional about the young men we are employing, the young men listening to us on this show, so that we are able to just, even if we are not the best versions of ourselves, but they can see us working towards, because that is the end of that is the whole idea of this mentorship.
Positive role models. Go back to a supporting environment. How does it look like? There are men
Yes.
and mi ucheza ball na hockey.
Yes.
Unakutanga tunaongea sana.
Yes.
But tukivisitiana unakutanga kuna mtu atakuwa wakati ametulia. Like you can say there are things this man haezi ongea huku. But huko nje, like they are totally different. So there is a environment issue there. And for the sake of even the ladies out there, maybe somebody is ni husband ni baby hapo nje, how does a supportive environment where men can thrive at home before even get to a workplace look like?
I think you'll agree with me that most of the men are looking for peace. That space of nothing, the nothing box, and a place where you don't feel judged. You feel like you can be yourself. And sometimes this image of you have to be a man, you have to sit like this, you have to position yourself. You can. There are things that you cannot tell your wife. You understand, because the environment you're not feeling like you're in this safe space. In 2008, I hosted a missionary. At that time, I was single, and I hosted him, and he was telling me his desire to mentor men. In fact, we went to one of the prisons with him, and many years up to date, I feel like he's closer to me than the people who are here. He's Australian, than people who are here, because this is a very real guy. He's a guy behind the movement we are launching on Saturday called Average Joes. Do you know him? His ministry. He saw a local place that guys used to go and take their drink on Fridays, coffee, whatever, and he would go and sit with them. And he started asking them, if we took away politics, if we took away religion, if we took away our issues with men, with women, how are we really doing in terms of masculinity, in terms of intentional friendship, which is mateship, and how are we mentoring each other? And that is how he came up with the 3 M's for men. So that now he's always creating an environment. So it's a big movement in Australia where men sit once a week. Forget about everything else. We want to know, how are you doing? How is your mental health? What is weighing you down? How are you internally as a man? Okay, so who are you mentoring, or where are you receiving the mentorship from, and what area? So it becomes a very good environment. Because most of the times, and I must say this, we are Christians. We are born again. We have not had very intentional a lot of us are speaking, when we go now to men's groups, we're speaking what? We are talking about biblical language. We've had fellowship, isn't it? Let's sit down. Yes, Arsenal. Yes, let's sit down. Yeah, let me find out, Karis. Unaendeleaje? So can I ask you, okay, the other time uliambia kuna dem anashinda kwa DM yako, how have you handled it? You get my point? So that now at the end of the day, this tunajengana. It's not just celebrating our wins. You get my point?
I get it, sir.
We always, if you ask me how I'm doing, I'll tell you, this week has been good, biashara is good. It's like the biashara. And now we have to be very intentional, because we've allowed, especially men, now that we're talking about money, we have allowed what we can provide define who we are. So if we are unable to provide, then we lose ourselves.
Manze,
yes. So that is why now, back to your question, we must create an environment, first of all, internally. Because there's so much going on. Politically, families, nini. First of all, create that environment in yourself. Take time to meditate. If you wake up in the morning, spend 10 minutes just be silent. Ask yourself, how are you feeling? Then outside now, to your family, now you have good energy. You can now be able to talk to your family, and now to the society. But most of us, boss, unaamshwa unalala mkama umeruka shower tu hujajipanguza ushatoka. You get? It's a rat race, man. So that environment should start from within, then around your family, then to the society, and being intentional about it. Because no one is going to create that environment for you. You try right now. I was crossing here, you are my office is a walking distance, so I use the bridge. So I've seen a guy using the wrong side, the way they turn, and a cop has jumped into his motorbike, almost hitting someone, and he was chasing the guy. Then I'm like, okay, so what if that cop just hit that person? And you get, it was quite dramatic. But I'm like, guys, we need to slow down. Why are we using the wrong side? What are we saving? Time or fuel? Then they're going to simple things. It has to start internally. Where is your peace? Yes. Are you sitting down to even think about what you read? Umesoma wada hapo, hata hujameditate, umesema ni sawa, acha nitoke, so that you can tell men tuko fellowship. No. It has to start in create. Nobody is ready to create that environment for you. It has to start with you. And that is why when Jesus he said, "My peace I give you." One of the things you need to seek, that peace. Don't first of all expect people to give you that peace. Let it start from within you. That I have peace, whether I have money or not. Paul, we like this scripture that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. But Paul, before that, was telling the Philippians, listen, I have been broke, I have been rich. I have learned the art of contentment. Therefore, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So look at that contentment as part of your peace. Niko na mshahara yangu, okay, nitajipanga nayo. If whatever I cannot, let me set it aside. If I can. So
unakuwa ume speak life to yourself to the extent that hakuna mtu around you anaweza interfere na hiyo zone huko. Hakuna.
And it starts with simple things. Sorry, I know you, but I must say this thing before I forget. The other day, I think a couple of weeks ago, I asked people, have you checked if you use any mode of payment you pay? If you pay with your card, can you get your statement for the last 3 months? If you pay via M-Pesa, get your statement. If you pay via Airtel Money, whatever you use to pay your expenses, can you just check on your expenses on what leaves your account and what comes in? But then go deeper and ask yourself, how much money do you give in any form, whether it's your tithe, you're supporting people, and tell me how much. And tell me and evaluate all those relationships you have with those people. I'm telling you, there's a report that says 40% of Africans are giving 40% of their income. But then you ask yourself, some of these relationships you have with your money, can you sustain it? I'm not telling you to stop, but is it sustainable? Yes. So people are coming with all sorts of answers. So it starts with evaluation. Am I okay with giving what I don't have? Is it something that has been spoken to me, or I'm supporting a mission, or what is the end goal?
Am I okay?
Yeah, yes. So you have to be very intentional about these things.
Wow. Another question, Amos. We're talking about opening up. We're talking about men being in a space where they are free to have conversation around mental health, around money, everything, in a place where you don't feel judged. And I love what you said, it starts internally. So you are in a place where you're like, this might happen, but you know what? I'm not going down.
Yeah.
I'm settled in a certain manner. When we say men talking to opening up, there are men who, their only friend is the girls they are dating, or the wives they have, what introduction, my wife is my best friend, and then there's nothing wrong with that. But are there things that men only need men to deal with? Even if you have an environment where you can talk to your wife, you can talk to the women around you, because there's this thing out there that men need men. So a man who does not have men around and hang out na ama ni women around, inakuwa ni kama kuna kitu ana miss.
And let me give you out of, because I'm not an expert in those relationships, but let me give you an example of when I was growing up. I was a very dull student until I was taken to a new school. I was made to repeat, and then I found a very nice teacher who taught me maths. The problem all along was that I was not seeing. All I needed were glasses. And from there, it began to lead maths to a point where I did KCP. I was the top student in the school. Then my kid bro was also equally sharp. So during closing day, you were given your report form. It was announced, and then your parent would escort you to pick the certificate. Let me tell you something. There's nothing I loved like seeing my dad. Whenever my mom would come and my dad is not there, I would go like, okay. But there's something about dads and sons. Even if you have a son or you are a young man, most of us want to make our fathers proud. If you've had your own father, that's why if we go to an event, my one of my sons is participating, they're looking at where I'm sitting.
Yeah, I have one at home.
You understand?
Akidance lazima anaweza dance for a whole hour.
Yes.
Mpaka nimuone.
Exactly. And there's a reason why a woman would go listen into a secret, a father who's about to give his blessing to a son, and she goes and puts hair on other son for the blessing to go to this other son. There's something that she knows that, isn't it? So there are some things that can only be done by a father. You know the story I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
Are we together? So for men, one of the things we can do, if you're married, if you're dating, first of all, it is good to make clear your expectations and let them make clear their expectations on you. Because there are some things your wife may not help you. Are we together? And sometimes, even as you come to us men, we may not help you. Okay? But I want to show you, listen, there's someone who has gone through it. They probably they look for how they survived. So you're not the first one. Okay? Take, for instance, a man who right now is going through separation. And a woman has left with the kids. This is a scenario. By the time that woman is getting to where she's going, most of the time she has talked to 2-3 friends. Probably there are people waiting for her. But this guy is still in denial. There are guys who will stay like that even 3-4 months. Hata mzazi anasema, can I talk to the children? Anambia hawako, wamelala. Are we together? Because we want that space. So you'll find this guy cannot just go talking to a lady. Are we together? He needs to be told, hey, listen, it is okay to disagree. What you can do, you cannot fail in marriage and fail in parenting. Choose one. The one that is in control, is within your control. So you see such conversations. Yeah, you get my point. And we're not saying we're better than the other gender, but you also need sometimes you just need kuambiwa Karis, what you push. Man up.
Unapigwa ngoto.
Yeah. Or even this issue of you're dating a Kagali, you're busy using digital ways to please her. You need to be told by Amos, hey boss, it's okay. Tell her for this month hauko poa. Are we together? Yes. And the next month ukipata kakitu, mwambie I'm investing in this relationship we have. So I've sent you 2K, panga ka picnic for this month. You understand? Are we together? Be practical. Okay, yeah.
Na yote utapata tu ukikana mwanaume mwenzako.
Ukikana mwanaume mwenzako. Lakini sasa ukikaa sasa na
nisaidie 2K.
Yes.
Ni baye mama kiatu na ulibai kiatu jana.
Ulibai kiatu, yes. So sometimes it's very important to also know, to find the value of intentional relationships with men.
Wow. Yeah. Let's take a breather and I come back. I think tutaanzia hapo because I think tumeona leakage moja ya pesa na money issues. Hiyo ni I hope you're understanding what you are talking about now, or you're getting the vibe here.
Hope FM, another quality service from Christ, is the answer ministry.
Check it, lights, camera, action, picture, perfect, Picasso, piga picha na we captions, skiza, drums na percussions. Life ilikuwa imetu checkmate na night, blackout ilikuwa ishatu feature white. Alafu tukacheki light at the end of the tunnel, kakamel tukawithstand ukame. Alafu nika make na raindrop, nika give thanks kwa yawe. Na fantasize na Christ, na fantasize kwa Christ, na fota that light, na mwachia battles a fight, na yeah less is more. Akiku bless what a day mechukua alone. When Jesus say yes, no one can say no. I guess atafanya messy kwe message na tesi kwe testimony. So forget about the rest, is history. It's lit, yeah. K-Flow, K-Flow, kuna rain for. Na Jackie Rainbow. Big up raindrop.
Anaitwa K-Flow, naona mwanga. Sema naweza kubless watu wadhani umechukua loan. Utaonyesha mambo. Watu wasema umechukua loan manze. Nani ma blessing. I receive. Talking about blessings, this Friday 22nd November 2024 from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. Kuna kesha hapa Satan Valley Road. This is courtesy of the Satan Intercessory Ministry, and inviting you for a sacred assembly as we lift our voices in worship, prayer and intercession, seeking God's intervention in our lives, our communities and even our nation. And Joel chapter 2 verse 13 says, and rend your hearts and not your garments. Return to the Lord your God, for he is gracious and merciful, slow to anger and abounding in steadfast love, and he relents over disaster. So mnakaribishwa. So kuna kesha hapa Sitam Valley Road this 22nd November 2024 from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. Kuja tuombe pamoja. Bwana Amos, welcome back. And let's talk about now the whole money conversation. I see a lot of men, talking about ni pesa tu sina. Unajua, ni pesa tu. What is it about money that, as you start, as we continue, you like every man tuned in right now to know?
Well, it's a very wide question, one. But since it's about men and financial literacy, because that's what I do every day, covers four areas. That's skills and knowledge. And we are past that, because if you're looking for a budget, you can actually use your phone, download a budget and work on it without having to reach out to Amos. But where we are struggling is attitudes and behavior. And the worst thing right now to man, the worst enemy to man right now is not that man who wants to defraud you of your money. It is your casual approach towards money decisions. That is the one that is killing us. A case in point, most of us operate digital loans and the limits we have like it's our money. So you have your digital loan somewhere limits. Hata kama ukitumiwa pesa imejikata, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
Imekatwa, but if your balance on your phone is reading 2,000, there is another amount that in your head belongs to you, which is not true. Because now you have slowly embraced that as a culture, as part of you. That is why Warren Buffett says that chains of habit cannot easily be felt until they are too difficult to be broken. I equate it to sin. There's that thing that you normally struggle with. So coming out of it will be very difficult, because sometimes it's too heavy to get out of it. So one thing that we must be able to do is be very intentional, okay, about our money decisions, okay? And no one is, in fact, I know I'm an author of a book called Turnaround Solutions, but I want people to access this other book called Psychology of Money. And that book in the first chapter made me think, or made me have a lot of confidence in any money decision I make, because it says no one is an idiot. Everybody knows what to do with their money. And if you think I'm kidding, walk into town, look at these guys who look like they don't have their faculties in order. When you're on a vuta glue, when you're on a tembea, or even sometimes people who look mentally, they are not okay. Give them 100 bob. Niambie kama watachukua. There was a time I did that. I was in traffic and I was eating this boiled maize. Jamaa alikuja kwa dirisha. Before I ate it, nikamuona it was cold. I parted with it. But you know what they did? They broke it into two, akaeka moja kwa mfuko na akakula nusu ingine. Why? They know there is tomorrow. Okay? I want to tell everybody, if you're intentional about it and you trust God, He will reveal these things. Some of the most successful people did not rely on financial advisors. I was somewhere in this famous high school, and one of the teachers told us they pay 300,000 per semester for their daughter in a very expensive university. Guess what? They only sell their eucalyptus trees because they planted 10 years ago. Now, seriously, what kind of financial literacy would I be helping this guy? So what I'm trying to say is more mental. Is more internal, is more intentional every day before you go to your WhatsApp group that is spreading those funny memes, very serious ones. I saw one of around Sitam earlier today.
Ile ukisema Bwana asifiwe badala ya mighty God.
You get, they're hilarious. But as you do that, have you even followed the channels for some of these financial institutions? A good example, Central Bank is there. They have their own channel. They're giving you weekly bulletins. They're telling you when there's a bond or a bill. They're explaining what it is. But you're busy following, for lack of a better word, nonsense. So can you be intentional and say, Every day I'll consume something that is building my finances. Whether through Amos, he's not the only one doing it. Okay? Whether through other pages, people who teach people about money. We are so many. Subscribe to something. So the thing I want to tell every man is from today, Jishike Maskio, if you say, I'll be intentional. I'll learn something. I'll improve on something. That debt will not be prayed away. Dawa ya deni ni kulipa. Yeah. And I must say this, some of my, sorry to say, some of my worst clients are Christians. That you even get worried when someone starts by bonus fuel. You get worried. Yeah. But some of the people who have integrity are not even Christians.
Unakuwa reckless kusema my God is a provider.
Yeah. But I feel like we need to change our prayers, that we are not just praying for finances. Let's pray for wisdom.
Yeah.
You get? And that's why Solomon prayed for wisdom, that everything else came in place.
And knowledge, because you're telling us read something, subscribe to something.
Because you cannot be the person who is always in need in church when you pray item killer time. Kachini reflect. I have been there, and I'm not saying that because I've not been there. 2019 was a bad year for me. Just when you feel you megonga rock bottom, 2020 ikaingia na COVID. And you know, we're in the business where we need people are not meeting. What do? You had to restructure. Some people listening to us, they already have a bit of assets. All they need to do is restructure. Some people already have relationships, social capital. All they need to do is position themselves, find a problem, solve it. Some of you are waiting. I've been waiting to do a lot of very simple things that will turn around. I'll tell you what, for close to 2 decades I've been in financial literacy. It's until 3 years ago that people began to see what I do. Why? A simple casual video on TikTok went viral. You get my point? And that changed everything. Okay? So we must be able to ask God. And most importantly, there's something about finding purpose, my friend. I am telling you, there's something about finding purpose. It gives you some sort of confidence that you don't know where it is coming from. You see that peace that transcends all understanding?
Yes.
That's the sense of purpose that God will place on some of you, even you listening to me, that will give you a very clear direction of where you ought to be going. And trust you me, you'll not be thinking about money. Know that you have plenty of it, but you found a lot of contentment in whatever.
There's more to life than
money. They normally say, it's good to have money. They say money is like money is like that it's like that antiseptic that kills 99% of your problems. But however, let's also be intentional. Let's prepare for that money.
Preparedness.
Prepare for that money. It will come. It will find its way. One of the things I was telling someone today is a cab guy. And I was telling him, boss, if you don't find satisfaction in what you're doing today, it begins to eat you slowly. And 10 years down the line, you'll be asking yourself, why didn't I stop? Why didn't I pursue something I love? Why didn't I pursue that thing that I knew gave me a lot of satisfaction? If you cannot be able to walk in church or cross the road with your kids, what are you doing? Because you're fearing and you're hiding.
Some years back, when you have long holidays, you're in campus. Siku hizi sidhani kawa kuna hizo long holidays unless watu wagome. But I used to go to work kwa soko, kubeba mizigo. So I'll hang out with like beba. Jamaa anabeba gunia avocado. Mbio, like, those kind of people for 50 bob ku trip kwa soko ndani. And there was this one guy there, amebeba mizigo for a while. All of them is a group of guys. And you could hear stories. Hata akikuja unaona vile ameng'ara, alafu saa anavaa tuko naita sogi, unavaa saa nguo ya kazi, kigunia hivi nini. That guy had investment, that guy had built. You could see the kids of that guy hata wezi amini anaendaga ni beba. But then the other group also they're there wanaingizaga the same money, and look at the guy, hakunywi, kwa sababu kuna ile assumption lazima utoe lock asubuhi nini. There's a form of discipline.
Yes.
You know that I kind of looked at, unaweza kuwa mjengo, unaweza kuwa anywhere, there's a form of discipline that you need to have that can actually bring this, you know, you to a place where you stand out. And this brings me to talking to a young man right now. Maybe ndiye anamaliza shule, maybe ndiye ako kwa first job. You know, what are some of the disciplines you can advise this young person, manze? Saa hizi knowing that Friday kifika calls za sherehe, nika unafanyanga kazi Friday. You know, I cry for these young people, and I was amongst the guys when walikuwa nakunywa, by the way.
Yeah.
So I will go home with nothing.
God is good.
Yeah, but look at that guy, manze. Anakuwa not trusted. Unakuta yeye anapatwa lori mzima ifunguliwi kama hajakuja. Yeye ndiye ana pinpoint watatu wenye watabeba nao. You can see people are trusting him, people are giving him the jobs, and there's something he's also doing about it on the other side.
Yeah.
So talk to a young guy here.
Let me start by having this saying, and I think it should be in every man's heart, that money does not stay where it is needed. Money stays where it is respected.
It is respected.
And if I can add my own, I'll tell you, if you don't take care of your money, it will impeach you very fast. and the funniest thing about this is, take for instance, and this is I like telling people, akunaga shilingi na kashilingi. You get my point? Right now, if I say you and your producer after this natakuwa buy a chai, and then let's say today is your payday, and you're in a different bank. They're in a bank that probably is what your employer uses. So their money reflects now, but yours probably tomorrow morning or in the afternoon. And then when I get home, I remember, hey, I was to buy Karis some tea and the producer. So I sent each one of you 1,000 bob. Now I have sent 1,000 bob to a producer, but then their money had come, but then probably they had transferred like 50,000 on their mobile or whatever, or they even have, let's use their mobile. So if I send my 1,000, it will be 51,000. And probably they're busy doing things. Do you think they will really have that impact? Don't answer that question. Look at that scenario. But then I find Karis manze has been having a tough month. He was paying school fees, he had a mgonjwa. So right now he only has bus fare home. Or even the fuel that is in the car ndio imebaki ya kufika nyumbani. Then he gets home. You know, when it rains it pours. He does not have anything. Mbele nyuma, even the digital loans he has exhausted. And then all steamers zinafanya nini, tokens inaisha. Then at that particular point, I send you the 1,000. What is the difference between the two scenarios?
I'll even pray for you.
Is it the same amount of money?
It is the same amount of money.
Now, this is why I'm trying to say that don't despise the small monies. If today you can, it's actually the first chapter of my book, start looking for things that you can earn. 100 bob. 100 bob in 5 days is 500. That probably might take care of your water bill for the week or electricity bill. So I tell people, if you're in a place where you have those small incomes, irregular incomes, start doing prepayments, start allocating them to your recurrent bills, so that if there is more money coming, it will be money channeled to other use. And this is what when you've asked about that young man, we need to start being good stewards of the little money. Okay? The irregular incomes. Because most of us, is that curse of business people. Normally say, kuna hii biashara na ngoja. So you're busy chasing a 10 million deal with a county. But you'll be paid 8 months from now. No. So all along you are accruing bills. When that money comes, it's like what my uncle used to say. You are earning little birds as they fly away. Yes. So you must be able to start taking care of your recurrent expenses. There is this notion that you should have at least your 6 months buffer of your expenses. But sometimes I even go further because people are not the same. Start having at least a passive income that can meet your fuel, your airtime, your rent. That's where we all start. So that when your salary comes, you can be able to direct it to a bigger project. So we must be able to start respecting money. Yes. Because it's about controls. Yeah. There's a reason why we are very keen if you're traveling, I don't know where you come from,
but
Eldoret. I'm sure when you're traveling, there's some things you check in your car. Isn't it? One of them is making sure that the brake pads are okay. Why? For your controls. It needs to have proper. You need to control that car, isn't it? When you're adjusting the mirrors, you also need to know the positioning so that you have controls. That's the same thing we need to.
Wow.
Yeah.
Somebody called Ruben here saying, what a conversation. My life turned around the day I learned about money. That's why which schools were teaching people about money?
That thing.
Wow. We have 7 minutes to go. You know, just speaking on some of the... I think we and you can have a conversation like when we can have a series, you know, a proper series for a few Tuesdays just to get deeper into these conversations. There's this man right now already yako chini kabisa. Huyu kisha mramba tuseme umesema hivyo amegundua kuna kitu kama budgeting ina happen anagundua anachezaga tu na hizo apps za loans manze labda hata on the other side ni pilot unajua hiyo pilot huko unachoma pesa kwa betting like saizi anatusikiza not mkono anasema anything to turn my life around me I'm ready not even the home is not conducive anymore because kisha mchapa vile inamchapa ni noma. Where can such a man start from?
It's interesting. There are certain money personalities. Kuna spender na hoarder. We are not going to talk about that. But kuna watu wanaitwa money monks na avoiders. Okay? So utapataga, you'll find that people who are money avoiders, it could be in a season, unaanzia job and you're really struggling. You're on your first job, probably in internship, and you don't know. Some people, it could be a trauma caused, let's say, by something like a loss. You've lost a lot of money, or probably you've been auctioned, or probably you're in so much debt. You don't want to quit Dennis. No, I had to. I had to. So you'll find in such environment, you cannot even call this person for a class to be taught about budgeting, right? They will not listen. Some of them could be struggling. Hata food ya tumbo hawana. You understand? So it is very important for, first of all, to identify the season they are in. Is it a temporary season? Or is it a season they were born in? You're here, a young man, you don't even have school fees. You get the kind of person you're talking about. The most important thing here is to find out, to start by saying and telling yourself, I have analyzed the situation. A proper analysis. Is it a permanent thing? Okay? Can I be realistic? If I am in a place where I'm in so much debt, even my wife does not know, can you sit down and tell her, by the way, nikubaya? Just own up. Okay? Look for men, look for us, DM some of us. We will tell you how we came out of this crisis. I am telling you, you mentioned you were carrying sacks. I keep telling people, I was working in a construction site somewhere in Juja, Kenya Institute of Organic Farming, nikilipo 110 bob per day. Are we together? Don't be afraid. You have no apologies to make. And especially if you're a young person, you have a whole, you're richer than us in terms of time. You have time to learn, move on, recover quickly. The worst thing you can do is have a pity party and sit down and say, okay, things will work. No, seek help.
What's a key for in
yes, speak out. I was joking today earlier. I was telling people the event we have on Saturday. Even if you're planning, because for me, I've seen DMs in my inbox and I've had to ask them to give me their number. I call them. Yes. There are people who are close to suicide. So hata nimewambia kama unapanga suicide usifanye hii wiki, ngoje after the event. After that, if it's not renewed, then you can go ahead. Because some people are really so much on the edge. But it's the same thing. Having a pity party, thinking you're the only one who's been there. Was it easy kufanya kazi kwa soko? Was it easy? Dance, the image, the dirt. It could have messed even with your esteem.
Sonko yangu alikuwa anapenda kusema, wapi wewe na degree? Kuja kuhesabu pesa, hii utawaishika.
Boss, you are there na degree. You just graduated this year. You get? But it will mess with your esteem.
Alikuwa anataka sana.
Yeah. But you also must be able to understand, even as you find purpose, there are things that you have seen even now, Karis, you know, there are things people who are less qualified than you have attempted and they have succeeded. You have tried and you've fallen face first. Are we together? So we must be able to sit back and say, hey, but there are some things, I don't think it's my calling. Let me seek my purpose. Let me get the confidence that I can get help and pursue what I've been called to do. Because one of the things that is messing us up, even that is messing up that young man, is to assume you have time. Boss, you do not have time. The moment you're approaching 30, you're almost halfway. So where you're going is a shorter distance than where you've come from. Okay? So you have to be humble, and this calls for humility. Gosh. I am an accredited mediator from SDRC, Strathmore's Dispute Resolution Center. And sitting down in mediation has taught me so many things. That it's always good to listen to the other party. It's always good to understand their point of view. Sometimes it's not even about the conflict. It's not even about the money. It's about being heard. It's about being understood. Some of the things we worry about, we are borrowing to please people. Probably they don't need all that. Sometimes it's always good. I keep telling people, please listen to Eliud Kipchoge. He says take vitamin N, which is vitamin N for no. Yes. Sometimes even as you go to these holidays na uchumi mepiga kwa kona, start reducing expectations of people who depend on you. Ambie next year ni kubaya, I'm getting to this. What is your plan? You get have a real conversation. Yeah. You know, generosity, as much as we've been called to be generous, we also need to give wisdom to people around us, isn't it?
I like what you said, even listening. Wengine uko na very intelligent brains kwa nyumba.
Yes.
Ni kichwa ngumu tu utake kusikia.
Yes. Yeah, so we have to get to a place of humility, and especially as men.
Wow.
Be very intentional. And as we even challenge men, please let every man understand this. If you poorly prepare for a retirement, it is going to hit you harder than it's going to hit our counterpart gender, the ladies.
True.
Because a lady can easily, your mom, is your mama?
Yes.
Yeah, kwanza mpatie shout out. You know, when you get a child, she can come and stay there, help around for a couple of days.
Na kure na kunyo.
Your dad? Why? Because he has his own territory. So we must be able to know. We cannot invade each other's territory. You must take care of yourself. Be very intentional.
Be very intentional.
Yes.
Seek knowledge.
Yes.
Hakuna pity party manze.
Yes.
You will not. Itakumaliza tu. You have to say niko kwa hii ngori. Lazima nitoke kwa hii ngori. Alafu pia humility kusikiza. Bwana Amos Ngahu, because tunatoka saa hizi. Umesema uko very, social media savvy, tech savvy. Hapo watu wanaweza kupata wapi in case kuna ndume inasema I want to inbox that guy. Where can they inbox you in just a few seconds from now?
First of all, tell them wakuje walilia kwa inbox yangu. TikTok ni Money Gossip.
Money Gossip.
Money Gossip, that's TikTok. Instagram, Facebook and LinkedIn is Money Clinic.
Money Clinic.
Clinic kama ya hospitali. Feel free to DM and if they want a copy of my book, they can get it at Naivas.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you, sir, for coming through.
I
feel like tumeguzia juu. We have to get deeper into this conversation.
Thank you.
And from another man to another man, pia mimi umenijenga manze. Kama kuna kitu niko na kiu nayo ni kiu ya kujua mambo ya do pia. Thank you, sir, for coming.